I am Wilfred Chikbana, but appear here as the Bishop, the Catholic Bishop of Makurdi Diocese, the capital of Benue State in Nigeria. I am the shepherd of one of the 4 dioceses, Catholic dioceses in Benue. We have others, Anglican, Methodist, and Pentecostals, which certainly Benue State has a population of about 6.1 million people, 2 million of whom are those under my care as the Bishop of the diocese. Benue State is about 98% Christian, with very few Muslims living in towns. Nigeria and eventually my diocese and the state of Benue have become, in recent years, one of the most dangerous and insecure places for Christians. Christians and Muslims are nearly evenly divided among Nigeria's large population of over 200 million persons. Islamist extremists are fiercely contesting the possession, control, and governing law of the land, especially in the country's northern and central regions, the latter of which is where Benue is located. There are constant ethnic, political, and religious conflicts over land and allegiance. Constitutionally, we are a secularist country, but our unity has been fragile. Political and religious actions and even public speech have been carefully managed to avoid accusations of religious bias and political tensions. Today, the clear influence of Islamist extremists has changed the traditional social dynamics of tribe, ethnicity, religion, and the social status in Nigeria. Because just recently, at the beginning of the Ramadan fast, 12 states in northern Nigeria have declared closed schools so that they attend to this. And you can imagine, which other country in the world does that? Saudi Arabia is not doing it. Afghanistan is not doing it. Baghdad is not doing it, but then Nigeria is practicing. What kind of Islam are they practicing? 12 states, and not only Muslims are living in these places. What happened to the educational program or curriculum of the country? Well, this is what we are going through every day in Nigeria. A long-term Islamic agenda to homogenize the population has been implemented over several presidencies through a strategy to reduce and eventually eliminate the Christian identity of half of the population. This strategy includes both violent and non-violent actions, such as the exclusion of Christians from positions of power and adoption of such church members, the raping of women, the killing and expulsion of Christians, the destruction of churches and farmlands of Christian farmers, followed by the occupation of such lands by the Fulani herders, and also changing the names of these villages. They are taking over the places, so you clearly see an expansionist approach and Islamic, and then they are making the people now flee and leave their villages, and they conquer it. The quest to Islamalize the land appears high on the agenda of some of the powerful and influential Muslims in Nigeria. There is a campaign to take land to spread Islam, and there is the hemorrhaging of Christian farmers from the central region of Nigeria and Benue State, and Makurdi Diocese in particular, as they are forced to abandon fertile lands that used to feed the nation, which classify Benue as the food basket of the nation. Militant Fulani herdsmen are terrorists destroying society. They steal and vandalize, they kill and boast about it. They kidnap and rape, and they enjoy total impunity from the elected authorities. None of them have been arrested and brought to justice. This is supported by the corrupt system in which we operate and the abject poverty among us, which allow the criminals to easily attract more recruits and prey on more victims. Why is this happening? Is it really a religious war? Like in the past, many jihadists are motivated less by religion than by spoils of war, and use their religion to impose themselves. In my diocese, the spoils consist mainly of fertile, well-tended land organized around my parishes or so. The jihadists come and adopt and kill the priests, leaving thousands without support and basic human services. And of course, when they disperse the people, the inhabitants, or the citizens, or the people of the lands, they take over. And any attempt to go back and take care of your farms, surely you get killed. The Makurdi Diocese in Benue State has been the epicenter of the invasion by these herders, who are more like hired guns of cattle oligarchies, who manipulate religion to rally the herders to eliminate the Christian population and cleanse the land in the name of Islam. This objective is behind the relentless attacks against Benwe's villages. When we call for help to the police and the army, they do not come. At the end of 2024, several villages were warned by the attackers of the upcoming violence, and the leaders called the police for defense ahead of time, but they did not come, and the Christian massacres, almost customary, took place, killing hundreds in Plateau and Benue, with the worst massacre claiming 47 people. The militant also burned down the 8 Catholic churches of St. Mary's Parish in the Diocese of Boko, which in Benue State, as well as the parish house, clinics, schools, and other houses. The militant Fulani herdsmen bear on defenseless villagers without consequences. They follow orders to conquer, kill, and occupy. They attack even those who have managed to escape into our IDP camps. Thereby, they have no place to run to. And it is unfortunate that the police system in Nigeria, orders have to come from above, and such that once there's a call, and they say they have never responded. And by the time they arrive, these people have left, and the people are now living in the pool of their blood. What I have recounted above is happening not only in Benue State. I believe our experience in Benue is symptomatic of what is happening elsewhere in large parts of Nigeria. The experience of the Nigerian Christians today can be summed up as that of a church under Islamist extermination. It is frightening to live there. Apart from the violent campaigns and attacks against Christian villages, there are now attempts by the Islamic Council of Nigeria and various Islamic groups to impose Sharia law on the Christian populations. Already, 12 states in the north of Nigeria are under this sectarian religious law, and attempts to extend the same to the south of Nigeria, which they have started. This month, governors in the north decided appropriately to close all schools and education institutions during the months of Ramadan, leaving millions of students without learning opportunity for 5 weeks. We live in fear because at any point it can be our turn to be killed, but to remain silent is to die twice. So, I have chosen to speak. I speak on behalf of the millions who are in the camps. In Benue State, in Makurdi Diocese alone, in my diocese, I have about 9 camps. 9. On the 5th of March, which was Ash Wednesday, we visited one of the camps, and many of my priests and religious went to the other camps, distributed them to begin the Ash Wednesday with our faithful who are there, because we are the voice of the voiceless. We have to talk for the defenseless. We have to talk about the weak and those who cannot talk about themselves. In one of the camps called the Mega Camp, there were over 3,000 inmates of that camp, and which was a record given to us by government. I speak on behalf of them and those children who have no husband, who have no father, and even their own voices taken away by the politicians who promised to help them but have become the willing tools of the jihadists because they are talking politically correct statements, looking for next elections to come. I speak on behalf of those whose loved ones have been killed, but no one has even offered a word of consolation to them. I speak on behalf of the thousands of young girls who have been adopted and raped because no one, not even the media, mentions them anymore. Foremost, I speak on behalf of my flock who are unable to worship freely and unable to return to their ancestral farms and homes because that land has been ruthlessly taken from them by the armed herdsmen. And where they say they want to live in peace with the natives, if you must farm, you have to pay tax to hire the land which belongs to you. That is slavery, to say the least about it. As prosperous Nigeria is in the African continent, and I tell you, if there's outbreak of war in Nigeria, no country around us, Chad, Niger, Ghana, Guinea, Togo, no country can contain the population that will flee to these places. No country can be able to house over 5 million refugees. It's not possible because of that. And if 1 million refugees run to Chad and Niger, they'll collapse that country because there'll be no plan to take care of them. So we have to be very careful. Today, I urge you all to use every means within your mandate to start developing a strong and good relationship with Nigeria, where you know that when you speak of human dignity, you are also speaking of the same God-given right you believe is unalienable. Consider that Nigeria can be your ally, but it cannot be one where half the population is in the process of being murderously eliminated. Work with us, the churches, and other Nigerians of goodwill. We are working for a peaceful and prosperous society, and our desperate plight has been set aside U.S. foreign policy for too long, to the cost of thousands of lives. Concretely, I request and I plead, I ask you to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. This has both a practical and diplomatic meaning to signal that you are paying attention to what happens to us and elsewhere in the world. Because the policies the government is trying to put in place, so that to return the IDPs, build camps for them, relocate them from their homes, it is not durable and it will not work, because the government has already the population that is not able to take care of, and then you have over millions of people in the camps, and they want to relocate them to where? And if you do, let's take it that you do, how many houses or rooms will you give me who has 5 children, another one has 3, another one has 2, and what will I be doing for a living? These people previously never begged anybody for food. They were managing their lives, training their children, and building their homes. So nobody should have deceived us on the guys that you're going to resettle the IDPs. They have no jobs. So where you set them, what will be their place? And by the way, the fundamental question remains, if you resettle them to other camps or build places for them, what happens with the ancestral lands? Who takes care of them? And this is whereby I feel the government is complacent on this issue. Because these terrorists, Fulanis, displace and kill people and then occupy the place and then change names, nomenclatures of these towns. For what reason? So we want to let the people go back to their homes and help for them to rebuild their lives. I implore this august body to insist on the return and rehabilitation of all the IDPs to their ancestral lands, and not to relocate them to other constructed camps elsewhere, which is an invented solution now being pushed in the Benue State government. And I tell you, Nigeria government can do that once they have to be accountable. Because I know Nigeria, under the auspices of ECOMOG, was able to reinstate constitutional government in Sierra Leone and Liberia.
See people with how they make people to agree and how they come into power, and people, because their eyes they are not open. You know, if your eyes is not open, when someone come with his lie, you will just agree and you follow him. They come with lies. That is why you see today we are having economic that is not going forward, because most of the Fulani that has been ruling us, they have nothing to offer.
Mr. Paul, they say that the Hausas are majority in the north. We are from the north. That's why I'm asking this question.
Yes.
But why are the Fulanis now ruling over them, since the Hausas are the majority?
You need to know that majority does not mean you are a powerful person. That is why they say, they say that money is power. Do you ever think towards that thing? See, money is power. You need to know that money is power. But there is one thing that is powerful than money: wisdom. When you have wisdom, you are powerful. When money see you, he bows down to you. So the people of Hausa, they do not have wisdom. That is the reason why those people came and they conquered them. See how God used and see how wisdom came. When they come to Plateau State, according to what one elderly man was telling us, when the Fulani man came to Plateau State to kill the indigenous people of Plateau State, so that they would be the one to set their emirs and to rule, because in a land of Plateau State we have many mountains. When the people see the enemy coming from a distance, they run to the mountain. And you need to remember what mountain is. Mountain signifies, it has its meaning. Sometimes mountain can be a place where you can just go and rest and you hide yourself. You understand? Yes. So you just have to run. That is how our people survive. And that mountain, God made that mountain to be like a shield to them. And that is why today we are on our feet. Without anything that has to do with the Fulani. But when they reach to Kaduna, the story has changed. They conquer the people in Kaduna. That is how they conquer every places. But Kano and everywhere, Sokoto and all the places, even here in the west, some places they conquer. But because truth is wisdom and wisdom is truth, when you begin to look for these truths, then wisdom will show itself. And if wisdom show itself, then all these crazy things, all this chaos will bow down. That is why today, whether Nigerian government like it or not, I will continue to tell them that Nnamdi Kanu will be safe, will be free. Nnamdi Kanu will, because if something happened with Nnamdi Kanu, it's as if they are saying hail should fall on them. Hail should fall on them. That is what they are trying to say. And because Nnamdi Kanu, many people think that Nnamdi Kanu is alone. I used to tell people, Nnamdi Kanu, number one, he have God Almighty. That is number one. And there are leaders of this world that their work is to work for righteousness. Their work is to work for justice. They are the one today standing saying Nnamdi Kanu needs to be released. See, let me tell you, their delay doesn't mean they don't have any action to take on Nigerian leaders. When they delay, you know what? They want Nigerian government to be able to understand that by only when they themselves realize that, let them just release this Nnamdi Kanu in a good way, then they will see the peace that they want to see. But if they are not going to release him in a peace way, they are trying to tamper with his life, they are trying to harm his life, then they need to know that they are looking for chaos for themselves.
Mr. Paul, let's look at the issue of Yakubu Gowon. Yakubu Gowon fought the civil war while defending Nigeria.
Yes.
And we saw how Fulani herdsmen may have been killing his people in the Middle Belt. And you are from the same state, Plateau, like Yakubu Gowon. Do you think that Yakubu Gowon may be regretting fighting the Igbos now that the Fulanis are now killing his own people?
Thank you very much. You know, actually, I used to tell people that I'm not Yakubu Gowon. Yakubu Gowon have his own opinion, he have his own belief. You know, we can be all people, but our belief will be different. So Yakubu Gowon have his own belief, he has his own ways of seeing things. But according to me, if I am the one that fight that war, let me just use an example with myself. If I am the one that fight that war, do you know what I will say to myself? I will say to myself that they deceive me. I will say to myself that I did not fight for people to come and fight me back. I did not fight for people to embezzle money. I did not fight for people to become, to become people without love in their hearts. When you fight, let it be that you are fighting for people to unite, for people to become one, not for people to be divided. But he fought that war thinking that all is well, never knowing that things will spoil along the way.
Are you not afraid that now Yakubu Gowon will be regretting fighting that civil war?
Of course, let's just be honest. Definitely he will regret. That's the truth. He have to regret. If he says not going to regret, then he's saying that the mind which God, the conscious mind which God gave to him is dead. And he cannot tell her that the conscious mind which God gave you is dead. That conscious mind is the ability for you to see into the past and to see into the present and to see into the future, to make to make adjustment where necessary is needed. So he really needs to make adjustment, and we are waiting for him. Because right now, we are waiting for him to speak his mind concerning the book of the other person which wrote what he wrote, the book of IBV. We are waiting for his book, because I believe that in the book that Yakubu Gowon is going to write, I believe that he himself, definitely we will get to know his mind in that book. We will get to know whether he regret it or he did not regret it. But for now, let's watch and let's continue to see. Thank you.
As I'm letting you go now, why does it feel at the North Central, where you are coming from, the Middle Belt, why are they always aligning with the South, like the Igbos and the Yorubas, instead of the Fulanis? Why do you think that they are saying that 2027 Tinubu for second term or Peter Obi instead of another Fulani man? Why do you think it's happening now?
Thank you very much. You see, if you look at the people from the Middle Belt, these are leaders, they have some level of integrity. Yes, these are people that have some level of integrity. Because of the level of their integrity, you will see there are people, they are not beggars. That is the level of integrity. Because they have some level of integrity, they will do everything to see that they keep their state working. That is why you see we have some governors in the Middle Belt that are doing everything possible, to help their people, so that their people will be able to stand on their feet. And at the same time, we still have people that force themselves into corridor of power, like the former governor of Plateau State. No one voted for him. He fought himself, and what happened? He came, he embezzled money. He left the state empty. He borrowed. He built bridges with money that right now the present government have to go and pay back. He borrowed. and not that he used that money judiciously. He used that money for himself and for the project. So you see, but anyhow, we still have leaders that have some level of integrity. That is why the middle belt is not as worse as the far north. With some middle belts too, there are some corrupt governors. When you look at Nasarawa, corrupt governors, very, very corrupt. Let me be honest with you. These are corrupt governors. And the reason why they don't like Peter Obi is because Peter Obi, we all know what Peter Obi did to his state. A man that proved to be the man of the people. And that is why today you see people are ganging. We want Peter Obi. We need Peter Obi because of what? Because of his legacy.
Would you support, as you're closing now, would you support Peter Obi again? Because supported Jonathan in 2015. You supported them article in 2019. Supported Peter Obi in 2023. Are you still going to support Peter Obi again?